Easter prepping some cornbread dressing. We're melting our butter and getting ready to saute our seasoning blend. If you've been following me on some other cooking video tutorials, you know why I talked about the seasoning blend. It is a combination of onions, bell pepper, and celery. It is a lifesaver to keep you from chopping so much stuff up. I love it, I love it, I love it. And our butter is sauteing, and we're just going to take our rest of our cornbread out. I've already cooked one pan of cornbread, and now we're taking out our second pan. And the third pan. So we have our and we're just gonna dump them. We're just going to add our seasoning blend to the butter. And we're just going to let our seasoning blend saute over in this butter until it starts to brown, and then we will mix it with the rest of our ingredients for our cornbread dressing. Quick and easy. While this is sauteing, we are just going to crumble up our cornbread. Okay, I have 3 pans of cornbread that I cooked in the oven. And we're just going to crumble it up. I'm going to start by breaking it up with a spoon because it just came out of the oven. And I dumped it straight over in the bowl. And a lot of time when your cornbread is still warm, it breaks up a little better because it's still hot. And we're making a large batch of dressing, but I'm not going to brown all of it in the oven once it's mixed up. I'm going to mix it up and let it refrigerate, okay, because I like for my seasonings to go through the cornbread, so mixture. So after I put all the ingredients in it, the black pepper, garlic pepper, onion powder, Italian seasoning, parsley, cilantro, a little Cajun seasoning, some curry powder, and some adobe seasoning. Once I mix all of that in here along with my cream of chicken, cream of celery, and chicken broth, I have chicken broth here. And then, of course, we're going to add the mixture of butter and seasoning blend with the onion, bell pepper, and celery in it. And also, we're going to put in our eggs, which we'll put in about 4 eggs in here and mix it up. And then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and let it set. Okay, I've crumbled bread up with a spoon now. I'm going to finish it with my hand, and I put on a clear plastic glove. And we're just going to continue to mash up the cornbread until it's broken up and little fine pieces. Now you don't have to wear the glove if you don't want to. I just prefer to wear it. I don't like the bread getting under my fingernails. And also it's just a safety precaution as well, especially when you're cooking for others. Although you wash your hands, the glove is just an extra safety precaution. Okay guys, you can see here where the cornbread has been crumbled up very finely. And I did the finishing touches with my hand when I did it with the glove. Now we're going to add our dry ingredients. And we're going to start with our black pepper. And you season to taste. I'm not really measuring. Once you cook it a few times, you'll begin to just eye your measurements. But season in accordance to your taste. And we're going to add some crushed rosemary. A lot of people don't like rosemary. It acquires a taste, but we're going to add a little, not too much, because we don't want it to overpower our dish. And we're going to add some Italian seasoning. Okay. We're going to add some onion powder, which is a salt substitute. Okay. We're going to add some cilantro leaves. Alright, and we're going to continue adding our dry ingredients to our dressing mixture. We're going to add some curry powder. And you only want to add a little curry powder unless you are an extreme lover of the curry powder. So it just gives it an added flavor. So we're just going to add a little to that, about a teaspoon. And now we're adding our Cajun spice seasoning. We're only going to add a little because I put in the onion powder already, which is already a salt substitute, and the Cajun has a little salt taste to it. So we don't want to put too much of the Cajun seasoning. But that serves in the place of like seasoning salt. Right, and now we're going to add our garlic powder. Excuse me, not garlic powder, but garlic and pepper seasoning. And we're going to put just a little for added flavor. And then we're going to add some adobe seasoning. Again, only a little because it's also similar to seasoning salt. And we're just putting just a dab. Okay, now that all the dry ingredients have been mixed in, I'm just going to give it a gentle tossing with my hands. And again, wearing a plastic glove for safety precautions. Of course, we're going to mix it up again with a spoon once we stir in the rest of our ingredients. Right now, we're going to toss in our seasoning blend mixture. Now we're going to add in our 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. And I'm adding a can of cream of celery soup. And we're going to add in our chicken broth. Okay, you can use whatever kind of chicken broth you want to. Name and brand does not matter for any of the ingredients for that matter. If you're trying to eliminate salt from your diet, then I suggest you use a low sodium chicken broth. Okay, so I'm using a chicken broth that is 30% less sodium. Alright, we're going to start off with a chicken broth. Again, we're using the low sodium. And I'm put it in a measuring cup. So we're starting off with 2 cups of the chicken broth. Okay, as you mix it, you will see the consistency of it and determine how much more you need to add. But we're more likely going to add another cup at least. And we're just going to stir this in. And then we're going to add our eggs. And we're not going to cook it now. After we mix the eggs in, we are going to refrigerate it for a few hours. You can do it for a few hours or overnight, and then put it in the oven and brown it. But I'm going to put all of this is actually going in the freezer because we are prepping for Easter. So all of this is actually going in containers and into the freezer. Okay, so after stirring, we see the consistency. I don't like dry cornbread dressing. I like for it to be moist. Some people cook their dressing and it's so stiff. It's just like you eating cornbread. It has the texture of this plain cornbread. So we have to remember we want it to be moist. So you make sure you have enough chicken broth in there, the liquid, so that when the dressing browns, it doesn't come out dry. So we're going to add some more chicken broth to it. And then we're going to crack our eggs and beat the eggs up before pouring them in. So now I'm adding another cup of chicken broth. And we're going to mix that in. Right now we have our eggs here. I cracked 4 eggs. The eggs is like the glue to the dressing. The eggs just going to help hold the dressing together, to help it thicken some. Just like people put flour and stuff to help it thicken. That's what the egg does for the dressing. So we're just going to gently beat our eggs and add them in. And we're just going to break the egg yolk up. And then we will mix the egg yolk up into the whites. Now that that's beaten up, we're going to pour it into our mixture. Right now we're just going to mix our eggs up in our dressing batter. And make sure you mix the eggs up good. You can use a spoon like I'm doing, or if you choose, you can use a whisk. And some people even may use a hand mixer, but it's totally up to you. But just make sure you mix up all ingredients well. And make sure your dressing is not dry, that you add enough liquid chicken broth to it to keep it moist during the cooking time. And of course, when you cook it, you're going to put it in the oven and let it bake depending on the variation of your temperature of your oven. Good 45 minutes usually, but it depends on the variation of your heating elements in your oven. So anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, or if your oven cooks slow, it may take even an hour. And it also depends on the type of dish you're using and how much dressing you pour into that dish too will determine your cook time as well. So just make sure you mix your ingredients up good. And like I said, this is going in the refrigerator. And we're going to let it sit so that the seasoning goes throughout the dressing mixture. If you let the dressing sit for a couple hours or even overnight, the longer it sits, the better the dressing tastes to me. It's not good just to mix it up and then directly pour it in the oven, and in your baking dish and put it in the oven. The seasoning hasn't had enough time to go through. So mix it up like I just did. Put a top on it, set it in the refrigerator for a few hours, let it marinate. Then pour it into your baking dish and cook. Or if you want to go directly in the freezer, put it in your freezer storage containers and store it in the freezer until it's ready to use. Take it out, thaw it out, and then pour it in your baking dish, greased baking dish, and put it in the oven to cook. Thank you, guys. Guys, don't forget to share now. Sharing is caring. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube video, KLun Divine Inspiration. You can find all kind of creative content on this channel. More will be uploaded in the days to come. Cooking tutorials, a few hair tutorials have been uploaded. I'm going to try to work on doing some more hair tutorials. Also, inspirational videos are on here, along with my podcast videos are on here. My podcast is called Real Talk with KLun Divine Inspirations. We air bi-weekly on Sundays at 8 a.m. The podcast was created to inspire others, motivate and encourage you, and give you some self-care tips. And we have a variety of topics. We just did a episode this past Sunday, so it will air again 2 weeks from that. So every 2 weeks we air the podcast. So the next air date is going to be April the 17th. So look forward to that at 8 a.m. April the 17th for another great episode with Real Talk with KLun Divine Inspiration Podcast. You can watch the video podcast here on YouTube, or you can go over to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and watch the shared premiere videos of the podcast. If you want to do audio only, you can check out Real Talk with KLun Divine Inspiration Podcast on the audio only version on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the Breaker app, Radio Public app, Pocket Cast app, as well as Apple Podcasts and Buzzsprout. So check me out on any of those platforms, guys. I appreciate you watching this cooking tutorial today. Be blessed. Have you a great, amazing day. And also, let me invite you to go over to Facebook and check out my Facebook group called KLun Divine Amazing Deals, where I showcase Amazon.com products. I am an affiliate of Amazon, so I advertise some of their products on that group page. You can get great savings there. Many people have cashed in and saved money across the board. So we have deals of the day, price drops, coupons, promotions, promo codes, subscription savings, and bestsellers showcase on that page. So go check it out today. Again, on Facebook, the group is called KLun Divine Amazing Deals. Thank you, guys. Be blessed. Until the next time, have a great, amazing day. All right, guys, it's all mixed up and ready to refrigerate. And for those of you who are not good with your measurements, or you may not have measuring utensils like measuring spoons, measuring cups, the big measuring cups, the small measuring cups like 1/3, 1/4, 1/2, 1 cup measuring cup, or the spoons, half a teaspoon, half a tablespoon, 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon. You don't have those utensils to measure. Just like I said, eye your ingredients like I did. You know, just put a couple of dashes of each seasoning that you want to put in there so that one doesn't overpower the other. As far as your chicken, your seasoning, like the cream of chicken soup, the cream of celery soup, of course that's already in a can. So if you're making a small amount, one batch of cornbread, pan of cornbread, then you're just going to use 1 can each and 1 can of chicken broth. But if you're making a large batch like I'm doing, like I say, this is going to go in several containers. All of it won't be cooked on Easter, so it'll be used at a later date, but it's going in the freezer. But anyway, for a large batch, then, you know, cream of chicken and cream of celery, just buy 2 or 3 cans of each to put into your dressing. Like I only use 2 cans of cream of chicken soup and 1 can of cream of celery, but you can do 2 cans of cream of celery. But I only use the 1 can because I'm putting fresh celery in it as well, fresh onions and fresh bell pepper. So that's why I only use 1 can of cream of celery soup. For the chicken broth, if you don't want to use the cans, if you know, now they have the cartons of chicken broth like I'm using. So if you buy 1 carton, like I put 3 cups in here, this gives you your 3 cups. So just pour it in there. But I use the measuring cup for those who may be using cans to give you an idea of how much to put in there. But actually this will give you your 3 cups. It'll be just like a couple of drops left in the carton. I just went on and poured that in there with it. So it's maybe like 3 1/4 cups of chicken broth in this carton. So you can just use the whole carton. Guys, I appreciate you watching my Easter prepping with my dressing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave me some comments, like, share. Remember, sharing is caring. So please share this video.